With so many different types of strings, how are you ever supposed to know which ones are right for you? Ernie Ball are probably the biggest string manufacturer in the world, and because they're the biggest string manufacturer, they make a ton of different types of strings because they've got something for everyone. But how are you supposed to know what gauge is right for you and your style of playing? Well, let's start by me taking you through the standard range and then explaining some of the weird alternatives that Ernie Ball also offer. Ernie Ball's standard gauge of strings are known as slinkies, and they go from 8s right up to 12s. The 8s are known as extra slinky, and 8s is quite an unusual gauge because it's so slinky. By slinky, I mean the strings are very thin, which means they have low tension, which means you can bend them more. There aren't many guitars that come with 8s as standard. It's a very niche choice. The only instrument I can think of that comes standardly strung with them, or the only player I can think of who uses them, is Yngwie Malmsteen on his Fender Stratocaster, which of course comes with scalloped frets, where the whole idea is that you're going to be bending strings. Next up is Ernie Ball's 9s, known as super slinkies. These are probably the most popular gauge of strings in the world. They're Ernie Ball's famous pink set of strings. Most Fender style instruments come strung with 9s, and certainly if you're in standard tuning, they're an excellent gauge of string to have enough slinkiness to be able to bend your notes but still keep tuning for those big thick chords. Next up in a bright yellow pack is the regular slinkies. These are Ernie Ball's 10s. Now these come as the standard gauge of strings on Gibson scale length guitars. They're a slightly shorter scale, and it means that the strings roughly have the same amount of tension as 9s would on a Fender due to that shorter scale. And again, it means you can definitely dig in and get all those bends, but they're great in standard tuning as well. Now this is where things get interesting. We have two sets, the orange hybrid slinkies and the red skinny top heavy bottom. These are quite a unique, unusual type of strings because they're mixes of two gauges. The hybrid slinkies are a mix of the 9s and the 10s, the super slinkies and the regular slinkies. What that does is gives you the low end of the 10s and the high end of the 9s. So if you really want to get your bends in and have a slinky high end, then that's there for you, whilst you've just got a little bit more tension on your low end. The same can be said of the skinny top heavy bottom, only the difference is you're mixing 10s on your high end with a set of 11s on your low end. So maybe the same thing as hybrids. If hybrids were for Fender scale length guitars, then the skinny top heavy bottom are for Gibson scale length guitars. Now we get onto the big boys of strings. We have the power, the beefy, and the not even slinky strings. Those are two types of 11 gauge strings and one set of 12s. The thicker the gauge of strings, the more tension there's going to be, the less slinky, the less easy to bend. These strings are going to be more like a fight. And they're also, of course, excellent for down tuning because the lower you're tuning, the less tension there is. So you need thicker strings so that you're not fretting out on your high end. The powers and the beefies are both 11s. The beefies have a heavier low end than the power slinkies, but both are perfect strings if you're down half a step or maybe in D standard or drop D. They're great if you're trying to make a bit of a heavier sound. And the not even slinkies, probably the ultimate of all string gauges. They are 12s. I mean, I would not recommend this string type if you're in standard tuning, not unless you want to snap the neck off of your guitar. They are perfect for D standard, drop C, drop A. They're perfect for everything heavy. They're the ultimate metal string. Outside of Ernie Ball's range of slinky strings, they've recently introduced paradigms. Paradigms come in all the same gauges as their slinky strings, only what's great about them is they don't break. They're completely unbreakable. Not that the slinky range break especially, they're just normal strings, and normal strings do break from time to time. They have got scientists and magicians on board to make sure that these strings will never break. So they cost a bit more than a standard gauge of strings, but if you want strings that are never going to break, or if you're really aggressive with your bends or your picking style, then paradigms might be the right thing for you. On the weirder side of things, Ernie Ball also do stainless steel and cobalt strings. Cobalt strings sounds terrifying, but really what this means is the strings have more clarity. With stainless steel strings with a hex core, it means they're going to last a bit longer. They're going to have better treble definition. So if you ever find that nickel strings are a bit dull for you, then cobalt or stainless steel are definitely worth a look. And of course, if you play weird instruments, then Ernie Ball have got you covered there. They do a range of 12-string, 6-string baritone, 8-string, and 7-string guitar strings, all in various gauges. So there really is something for everyone in the Ernie Ball range. So that is the Ernie Ball range of strings, from extra slinky to not even slinky. There's something for everyone, and isn't that nice? And if you want to see more videos like this, then hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you very soon. Sorry. Let me just get this. It's my lawyer. This gauge. Ooh. Yeah. There's definitely something for you there. What am I saying? There's definitely something for you. Come down to Italian Furniture Direct.